Hi, everybody. It's Delusion Dispeller. Can you believe it? We are on number 6, I believe, of this video series on my religion, aka what makes me what I am, or what has made me why I am what I am. Something like that. I don't know. I don't even remember anymore. Anyway, so I walked out of that church, shook the dust off, went home crying. And then by the time I got in the house, that was going to change my life for a good long time, I think. I was bawling. I was on the floor crying and crying and crying. I do need to backtrack a little bit to right before I got kicked out of the church and excommunicated. And then I'll go back up to that. So about, I don't know, maybe a week or two before the whole thing went down, everything seemed, business as usual. Went to church on Sunday, Wednesday, whatever, Bible studies. A lady came up to me and her name was Colleen. And I can mention her name because that was a saint in shoes. Seriously. She is the most wonderful, blessed, awesome lady that I've ever met in my life. Seriously, one of them. Anyway, she walked up to me and we kind of got to know each other a little bit. And she said that she wanted to pray with me, like she would pray with me daily to help me. This was before I left the church, before I got kicked out. And the only thing was I had to call her. She wouldn't call me to pray. But every day, if I called her, she would pray with me over the phone for, whatever, deliverance or help or whatever, just to heal my heart from some of the hurts that had happened in the church. She said, I talked to the pastor and he agreed to it. He said I could do this because you have to understand in certain churches, they run your life. They don't move unless the pastor says it's okay. So he agreed and permitted this. So it was okay for me to do this. All right, cool. So I did. I would call her almost every day and we would pray over the phone. That's all she did was pray. And if I started talking about anything, she would say, I hear what you're saying. I hear you, whatever. She'd validate that she heard me, but she would not get involved in the discussion. She refused. She would not say dirt if she had a mouthful, as my mother would say. She just was not that type of person. She didn't badmouth people. I prayed with her every day. I felt like I was a little bit more at peace. And she arranged for me to meet somebody. I got to make up a name because I can't give this person's name out. I wouldn't do that to her. I'm going to call her Di, like for Diane. We're going to call her Di. Okay, she would tell me about Di. I'm going to have you meet this lady, Di. I think she's going to be really helpful to you. She's helped a lot of people that were really tormented in a lot of ways. She's been rejected by the church, so she understands that. I just think she'll be a really good person for you to meet, and I'm going to hook you up with her. I'm going to talk to her and arrange it. So, that was going on. That arrangement was being made. In the meantime, I had a friend that was a pastor. In fact, he ordained me to be a minister. He was one of the people that ordained me. And he told me, we had talked like repeatedly. I'd ride my bike over to his church. I didn't attend his church. We were just friends through the family. And he told me at some point, he said, I've been talking with your pastor. And at some point, you are going to be rejected in a really bad way if you stay there. I suggest you leave now because I'm telling you, they're going to make it so bad that you're going to want to leave if you don't. And I'm like, what? We're on good terms. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't see that at all. He's like, I'm telling you, it's going to get really bad for you. I said, okay, well, interesting. Another thing I forgot to tell you on the other video. One of the accusations against me, besides just bad mouthing them, which I had already stopped doing, was that he said, I heard how you were dressed in red and you was ranting and raving about, this is his words. I don't talk like that. You was ranting and raving. No, you were, not you was. You was ranting and raving about the church and you were putting curses on us and all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Or dressed in black, not red. Now, what he was talking about was I had gone to the other pastor's church, the friend of mine, and my husband at the time was there, and I didn't agree with what they were teaching. So I got upset. And yes, we were going to a picnic, and I had a black dress that I was wearing to the picnic. And I went downstairs, I put on this black dress, and came upstairs. And I was standing in the hallway waiting for my husband at the time, to leave because I was trying to get the kids in the car so we could go. And this turned into I was ranting and raving and putting curses on the church. That's how twisted things get in the translation. So that was another reason they excommunicated me. They were convinced I was practicing witchcraft and Satanism. And no, at this time I was not. When I told y'all that I was a former witch, that was back in grammar school. I was an adult by this time. I renounced all that stuff. I had gotten healing and deliverance from all of that. So, no, I was not practicing witchcraft or Satanism. And I had a black dress on because that just happened to be the dress I chose to wear to the picnic we were going to. All right, so that got totally distorted. So, anyways, I was talking about that because I wanted to kind of set the pace about how this all came about, meeting this mentor and stuff, Diane. All right, so anyhow, flash forward. It's time for me to meet Diane, okay? And I'm really angry about having been kicked out of this church and very hurt, very rejected. I would lay on the floor and cry all day long, every day in tears, only drying my eyes long enough to come up to dinner where my husband pretty much treated me like garbage in front of the kids anyway, and then go back down and sob my head off again all night long till I was so tired I'd just fall asleep in my own tears. It was bad. I was miserable. I was so depressed. I hope to God to never feel depression like that again because I definitely do understand depression. So those of you that think I'm not empathic and I don't get it, I do. I get it, but I also understand that you can overcome it and come out of it. All right. So I met Diane and I met this other lady. We'll call her Jenny. All right, Diane and Jenny. We met. I drove to a McDonald's near my house and we sat down and they were supposed to introduce me to this Bible study thing they were teaching and teach me the Bible and disciple me. I had never been discipled. That was the determination. And they were supposed to disciple me. Well, I just remember Jenny talking about these other evangelistic things she and Di had gone to. And they were talking about, oh, well, I saw that guy and he was like vomiting out all different colors. And this person, well, they're really coming up in the faith. They're coming up. And I'm like, what are they coming up? Coming up where? I didn't understand their lingo at all, their jargon. To them, it was perfectly natural to talk like that. Oh, were they really abounding in faith and abounding? What? I didn't get it. I didn't understand what coming up, abounding, and vomiting up rainbow colored vomit. And none of that made sense to me. So I was fascinated. At the same time, I was like, wow, okay, these people are a little, interesting, a little different. But I was still fascinated enough to really hook up with them and want to find out more. So they invited me to this Bible study. It was called Faith in Action. That I will tell you the name of because Amber got named after this group. Faith. Amber Faith is her name. She was named after this group that so radically was responsible for helping me change my life and want to live for the first time in my life. So anyways, I started going to this Faith in Action group and it was a blast. We sang music from Hillsong and this other church. I can't remember the name of it now, but they still make music. It's still some of my favorite music. And it was really overcoming type music. It got you really excited about God and the Bible and living your life for the Lord and stuff like that. So I loved it. And the teaching was so powerful. Di was the teacher, and Diane was like a dynamic teacher. I loved her. She was my favorite mentor. And to this day, she's still my favorite mentor I've ever had. With somebody else coming in very close second. But Di was dynamic and she interested me in the Bible like I had never been interested before. And we laid hands on people and they got healed. And They got healed of emotional things and physical things, and amazing healings happened. And back when I was 16, I saw a guy's leg grow and felt it grow and watched him come in with a leg shorter than the other one and leave with 2 normal legs. And I'm not going to tell you there was any hocus pocus in that, because there wasn't. This was a guy completely off the street, a stranger, came in, sat down in my youth group. We laid hands on his leg, and I will never forget. It grew. That guy ran around the block, I don't know how many times, screaming, "I'm healed. Oh my God, I can walk." I mean, he was born crippled. There is no mistaking that for a miracle. However you want to think it came about, that was a miracle, my first miracle. And then I saw a girl get healed of deafness in her one ear. And anyway, I'm yawning because I'm running out of oxygen because I'm talking so fast and excitedly. Sorry. I just get excited about talking about this stuff. Anyways, so I'm going to try to take some deep breaths and calm down. I might need my inhaler or something because I'm getting all excited. Okay, so anyway, so Diane was teaching us, and it was dynamic teaching and so exciting. And I was so excited to be there and be part of this Faith in Action group. Now, interestingly enough, this Faith in Action group took place in a building behind an Assemblies of God church. And in the Assemblies of God church, there was a pastor. Think of what I could call him. We'll call him Pastor Jim, okay? So Pastor Jim was teaching this totally new doctrine that I had never heard of, and so was Diane. And it's known as Word of Faith or Full Gospel. I read to you some names originally: Paul Crouch, Marilyn Hickey, Joyce Meyer, T.D. Jakes, Richard Roberts, Casey Treat. All those names, they're all part of the Word Faith movement or Word of Faith movement. And that's what they taught from, was the Word of Faith doctrine. And I had heard the Bible this time unlike any way I've ever heard of it preached. I didn't want to sit in the Assemblies of God adult service. I wanted to be part of the Wednesday night youth service. I'll tell you what happened when I tried to become part of that youth service and how I went about it in a kind of sneaky way. Stay tuned for the next video.